Hey guys, so this will be my 14 and pregnant my story video. I just wrote everything down on paper just so I get everything, because I usually skip things. So I started dating Jake on November 10th, 2010, and I just did a calculator thing on a website, and based on my due date of November 18th, 2011, I conceived Dallas around like the end of February. Jake and I were dating for 3 months before I got pregnant. My first and really only symptom of pregnancy was missing my period. I knew I was probably pregnant, but I just kind of like pushed it to the side because, you know, when you're 14, lots of things are going through your head, like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant, and then it's like, what's everyone gonna think? What's my parents gonna think? So it's just like, okay, I'm not pregnant. And you just kind of like make yourself believe that, I guess, or like try to get it in your head that you're not pregnant. One reason is because when you're 14, I just turned 14 the December before, December 2010, I turned 14. And then the March after I got pregnant, Jake turned 18. So just because that he was 18 and I was under 16, that if somebody wanted to, they could have charged him and blah blah blah. If my parents didn't like him, they could have charged him with statutory rape. But yeah, and we were just like scared of all the other possibilities. Like, you know, obviously it's hard to think of every possibility when you're like stuck on the spot, like, oh, I'm pregnant. But like, you know, miscarriage, like there's something wrong with your baby, a life-death situation in your pregnancy, you know, complications and such. Then you got the options of abortion, adoption, and obviously parenting. So during the first few months, I guess Jake and I tried to just kind of ignore it, blow it off, kind of like, oh, it's just gonna go away kind of thing. Like, I don't know. But at 4 months, I started feeling movement and kicking, and it started getting me more excited and like, oh my gosh, like there's a baby in me, like, oh my gosh, there's not a little life in me. And, you know, Jake being 18, being in his second last year of high school, he was, I guess, worried, nervous, all of the above. You know, I feel like sometimes it takes a man more time to warm up to pregnancy when they're stuck in like the teen kind of situation, like a teen dad, a young dad, and when it's like caught by surprise, accidental, whatever you want to call it, not an accident, not really. I don't think that it's an accident, it's just, you know. And by this time of 4 months, I still had not told anybody. Also, probably around this time, or a little bit after, maybe like between 4 and 6 months, Jake's dad started asking his mom, is Ashley pregnant? And started asking Jake, is she pregnant? Because I don't know, after the fact, kind of going ahead of time here, Jake asked him, like, how did you tell her? Like, how did you know? Why did you ask? And he said that he could like see it in my face, so yeah, but obviously we just kept denying it. And probably shortly after this, probably around 5-6 months, we went to the local teen pregnancy crisis center, whatever you want to call it, and just because like it's like they have to do it, they had to do a pregnancy test, and that was my actual first pregnancy test for the pregnancy, and of course it came out positive. But it was hard there because she was telling us like everything about like adoption, abortion, parenting. Obviously she was more towards adoption and parenting, but she did like tell us the not really pros and cons of abortion and just the traumatic stress and what happens after is, I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I mean, there's like, just not because of the risk, but because you're literally killing a person inside you. It's part of you. It's part of your boyfriend, and yet you're just gonna go take it out of your body and stop it from breathing just because it's legal. And I don't believe in that. I think it's murder. No, but sorry. No! You want to come here and look at yourself? You can look at yourself. So, and then she was talking about adoption, and you know how there's open adoption, there's closed adoption. Honestly, I think it'd be harder to have an open adoption just because you're getting pictures, you're getting videos, you're meeting up with them, and you're seeing your child, and you're like, well, I wonder what he or she would be like if I would have raised him. No, Dallas. And I don't know, there'd be a lot of wondering going on in my head, a lot of worrying. And then even I've heard of some stories that where you do get open adoption, that the adoptive parents will just close it, and you won't be able to see your child anymore just because they felt like they'd close it, even though they agreed to keep it open. And just like some other horror stories of adoption and abortion. Obviously, by far, parenting was my top #1. And also, just like after I decided that, you know, we're keeping the baby, we're parenting, we're raising everything, I just wanted to like go on YouTube and just research more about adoption and abortion. And just like an extra little add-in is why I didn't choose abortion, because I'm against it. But if you ever go on YouTube and search the silent scream, I think it's called, you just gonna have to watch it yourself. But like, just when they go into detail about how they do it, what's happening, what you're doing to your body, and of course what's in your body, which is your child, which you created. And it's not pleasant, and I cannot do it. And I'm not, ever. Just another reason why I think that Jake and I hid my pregnancy so long is because deep down inside we did know that we wanted to keep the baby. So I guess in our minds, the longer we waited, the harder it'd be for people to push us into abortion or something like that. Just because obviously the longer you go on in pregnancy, the more human, obviously it's a human at the start, but more human it gets, you know, heart beating, fingernails, hair growth, eyes, blah blah blah, lung functioning. So I guess that's just why we hid it longer, trying to, I guess, hope that people would be less likely to push us into a corner that we didn't want to be in. And just a quick little fact, it kind of sucks no matter how long you wait in Ontario. I don't know if it's just Ontario, just little parts of Ontario, or whatever. You can still have an abortion right up to birth, like right up past 40 weeks. If you go past 40 weeks, you can have an abortion then, which I think is disgusting. So now, getting on to when I told my mom around 7 months. If you want to know how I told her and what went on with me telling my whole family, like how I did it and such, what their reactions were, I will make another video. I'm just trying to get this to pretty much my pregnant story at 14. So I told her at 7 months. We stayed up for about 4 hours talking, crying, decision making, everything, because, you know, 2 months to go and baby's gonna come. So up until this time, which was 7 months, I did not have any medical attention, no prenatal vitamins, nothing. I was risking pretty much my child's life because I was so young, but I don't want to say that everyone so young is gonna do what I did, because obviously there are people that decide things better, easier, faster, whatever. They weren't in my situation. They all have their own situations, so not just because of mine. Don't go off saying, oh, all 14-year-olds shouldn't have babies because of this. Yes, they shouldn't have babies, but it's not because of that reason. No, bud. So yeah. As soon as I told my mom the next day, I'm pretty sure she took the day off work. And she did call my doctor, my family doctor at the time, to make an appointment to, you know, hear the heartbeat and set up an ultrasound appointment. My first ultrasound at 28 weeks. Yeah, my first and only. But when I got to the doctors, we heard the heartbeat. This was like probably 2 days after, because they tried to schedule me in as soon as possible. And he was feeling the baby and saying, oh, his head's up here and his butt's down here. And he did the heart rate and everything. Everything was good. My mom cried. I was tearing up. And yeah. And then my ultrasound was booked probably for like a month after. I'm not sure if that's like the right calculation, because I had it at around 28 weeks, a couple days over 28 weeks, I think. And I wasn't pleased with that, because, you know, obviously I want to see my baby and make sure she was okay. So I went in around 28 weeks and he was fine. He was measuring a couple days ahead, so the ultrasound tech pushed my due date a week earlier. My due date was originally November 18th, and she pushed it a week, a little bit earlier. And then I went to my doctors and they're like, oh, no, it's still November 18th, so whatever. My due dates kind of switched like 3 times. So baby was healthy, and we decided the names Ryan James and Dallas James. And of course, we chose Dallas. The only reason we chose Dallas is because we wanted to be a little bit more, not so unique, but just something that's not overly used, not that common. I did decide to give Dallas his father's last name. We're still together. So, and even if we some reason do go our own ways, I still won't regret, in my mind right now, giving my son his father's name. That's just my thinking. At 38 weeks pregnant, I went in for a checkup, and my blood pressure was too high. I'm trying to go fast here because it's going to be in my different video. And I went in the next day and my pressure was higher, so they induced me at 38 weeks. I had Dallas 4 hours after they broke my water, and he was born at 4:15 p.m. He was 19.3 inches long. He was 7 pounds 10 ounces, and we did leave the hospital at 3 ounces heavier, which is, the nurses were kind of, you know, we don't see that too often. So now Dallas will be 2 years old, as you've seen him before in my video as he was checking the camera out. He will be 2 in November this year. Time flies, literally. And he is, last time I put him on the scale, he wasn't really staying still too long, so it was kind of hard, but he was around 28 pounds. He has blonde hair, blue eyes. He was born with I guess light brown hair and the grayish blue eyes. And he was diagnosed with eczema. I call it eczema. And asthma a few months after he was born. Thankfully, knock on wood, wherever wood is, that it's been toned down. His eczema has been not totally, but for the most part gone. His asthma usually gets worse in the winter, so fingers crossed that this year is a good year. But if you can hear the background, it's because he's watching Wiggles, and he loves the Wiggles. Loves them. Loves. Like, you don't even know. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I'm going to be making first story video, and then I'll also be telling and families' reactions of me telling them. So this is my 14 and pregnant, my story video. So I hope you liked it, and look for more videos. I hope you guys liked it. You can comment, comments. I like comments. Lots of comments. Questions, inbox, request videos. Do what you do. Because I love you. Love you. See ya.